I'm so excited.
Out here in these streets, out here in these
Out
podcast
here in the streets.
streets, out here in the internet
Good
tubes,
evening, ladies and gentlemen.
and
I
everything in
said
between,
gentleman like we have
everyone in
we have
between.
one male fan. Um, and hello to that one male fan. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chapel Bell Curve Live. We're going to be live recording our newest episode. We got a little emergency podcast episode action going on tonight with
Beepity
our
beep beepity beep beep
recent
beep beep
transfer
beep
portal
beep beep.
madness. Yeah, coming to you live. Transfer portal. This breaking news. This just in. Kirby Smart is Dan Mullen's dad. Um, this is not just in. That's been true for a while.
True for some time.
So, yeah. So let's go ahead and start our recording process. You want to do the intro today?
Sure. Ready?
Yeah. Hit it.
Welcome to Chapel Bell Curve, stats focused podcast about UGA football. I'm Justin,
And I'm Nathan.
and we are joined
welcome,
today by
ladies.
Pepper over
Oh.
here as well. I just wanted to introduce my dog. If you're watching the video stream, we're going to be doing these
Yeah.
live video streams from now on. You may just get a glimpse of the most perfect dog in the entire world if you're around.
She does look very sad, but yes, she is a perfect girl.
She's content.
So we have a 3-member podcast. I can't show you Scout because my cat is sleeping off camera, and if I touch her, she will murder me. So today we are here. Probably everyone knows why we would be talking about anything Georgia related. It is always going to be in the past 48 hours. Pretty much everything Georgia related has been based on recruiting and transfers.
Oh, yeah.
So we are here to talk about transfers and recruiting. So before we get into the meat of everything today, let's talk about release schedule. We had an episode we recorded last week, and we're recording this one right now as well. So these will both be coming out on the podcast stream on your local podcaster of choice. Well, in the past, if you're listening to this on your podcast, but if you're listening to this on video, in the future, I would say soon-ish.
Yeah, they'll be coming out. We're on an off-season schedule right now, and so they come out.
Yeah, really like how tight the deadlines that we work with here are. It's real, very, very professional. So, let's get into the news of the day. Before we get into our transfer portal news, we do have some recruiting stuff going on.
What's going on in the
First
world?
camps in over a year. So June 1st, we went from a dead period where there was no contact between coaches and recruits to the end of May. We were quiet and we could contact, but they couldn't come on campus or something. Anyway, recruiting's back, baby. Always be recruiting. So obviously, June 1st was the first report day for some of the kids, but it was also the first non-dead period day in quite some time, and it was the day that UGA had its first on-campus recruit camps. Hello, Zuko. UGA had its first on-campus recruit camps in about 15 months. So
Yeah.
a few interesting, I know you're not as much of a recruiting guy as I am, Justin, so I thought I would bring you some sort of like notes that are interesting in ways outside of recruiting. So lots of 5 stars coming to UGA's campus. That's a recruiting thing. I think it's like 15 5-stars over the next few weeks. One interesting offer was to a 4-star, an offensive lineman, Mr. Drew Bobo.
Interesting.
Who is the son of everyone's least favorite offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo. And if you look up a picture of Drew Bobo, he looks like if his dad was on human growth hormone. he looks like if his dad took HGH and instead of being like an emaciated quarterback was a 280-pound offensive guard.
Drew Bobo looks like he knows Bobby Hill.
Yeah, he does have sort of the like. That's not a very flattering picture of him. If
I'm
you're looking
looking
at his
at all of
24/7 profile, he has a little bit of a thumb face sort of thing going on, which as a man with a big neck, I understand. But he does just sort of look like if his dad was an offensive lineman, which I think is hilarious. Reports are that the offensive line class is not that good next year, so the thought would be that, we maybe have more opportunity to offer someone who, if not a reach, is more of a project. Bobo is a little small, probably for guard, which is where he projects. He's only 280 pounds right now. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's one interesting note. Another one is the
you go, Drew Bobo.
no, go ahead. Yeah, Kamari Laster was on campus today. 5-star, number one overall safety. If you want another sort of like insane run around the field, Richard LeCount type, he is it in the next couple of classes. He's not short though. He's 6'1". Kamari Lassiter is like if Richard LeCount were the size of a traditional safety. I think my video went out. It's back.
Sure did.
Okay, so
He's back.
yeah, we also had a commit show up to one of these camps today, which was everyone's all-name team defensive tackle Bear Alexander out of Texas. Bear Alexander, of course, is sort of the, if he committed, would probably be the heir apparent to the Jordan Davis, the next big defensive nose tackle. And also his name is Bear Alexander.
Yeah, he's also the heir apparent to the Major Burns throne of best name on the team currently.
Yeah, Major Burns transferred, unfortunately. Oh, man, it looks like we have Graham incoming in just a moment, which is going to be super good timing. So we are happy to report that as we transition into talking about transfers, we are going to bring on someone who is way smarter than us about these two transfers because he has done more research than us. And that is Mr. Graham Coffey of Dog Sports Live fame, who was on these two transfers that we got yesterday real early, and who has done a lot of tape breakdown on both Gilbert and Kendrick. So he is incoming as we speak. He said he's trying to update Discord, so that might be like in a year and a half.
I'm also going to have to uncrop our little guy here real quick as we go through that.
Of course. So Graham should be getting on here soon. I hate to be vamping like as though we are on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, like we're waiting for.
Here they come. It's happening.
Yeah,
we promise.
Should be seeing the Snoopy float before too long. Everyone's favorite Beagle, Snoopy. But Graham is, we're going to talk about impact, fit of both of these players, and we're also going to be going over sort of like how does that change our expectation. And hopefully he is on here soon. In the interim, what was your like in real time emotional reaction to yesterday? What was your level of excitement?
It was probably not the same as yours. I got to see kind of everybody yell all at the same time, and that was a lot more exciting for me than anything else. I think your video just cut out one more time.
And I'm sorry.
No, it was awesome. I was so yesterday I was trying to finish a grant by 5 p.m. and then my phone just kept blowing up because everybody was texting or blowing up the Discord and on Twitter about these two commits all at the same time. And you texted me and you were like, "We just got who did we get first? I think we got Kendrick first, or did we get Gilbert first?"
No, it was Rick Gilbert first. Yeah.
Okay, we got Gilbert first, and you were like, "We got Gilbert.
Eric,
we gotta record." And I was like, "All right, yeah." And then we got Kendrick, and you were like, "Can you get on right now?"
Yeah, I had a lot of energy about it.
Yeah, it was intense, but it was a lot of fun to kind of. It took me out of the moment of being stressed out about that deadline, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean. We went from already being pretty excited about this season to being incredibly excited about this season. Yeah, and we'll kind of talk through the expectations of how that seems now. But what about you? Kind of give me your play-by-play.
Even though Graham and several other people who I trust had been very much in the mode of this is going to happen, it's all over about the shouting, I am always inclined to believe that life is pain, and that expecting anything from any UGA sports experience that's positive is like just a fool's errand. But when we got Gilbert, my thought was like, well, that's one. He's probably the lesser of. He's not a luxury because he's like a generational talent at tight end, but he's probably the lesser of the two in terms of just pure need. So that would be really cool if we got him, but also I'm not going to expect to get the guy that we probably need. And then for that to happen, and I mean, it was so clear that this was like a direct PR. I do want to like briefly take this moment to mention the sort of timing of all of this. I mean, I think this is a really good example of how the backstage of this sort of recruiting industry is incredibly, I don't want to say incestuous because that has a negative connotation, but it's deeply interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw both of these stories were put out by, I believe, Jake Rowe over at 24/7, who is a very good recruiting reporter, and they sort of came from his personal relationships that he had with both Gilbert and Kendrick's families from covering them, and the manner in which they came out within minutes of each other, to me, spoke to a pretty orchestrated effort, both from the part of the two recruits and 24/7, and also the UGA's football team to sort of heighten the impact of like recruiting is back, we're back. It's time for Georgia to go or whatever. And I've always been interested in, and I don't say that as like being a negative thing. I think it's a very interesting strategic. I don't know. I mean, it was a very interesting strategic decision by Smart. Is that Graham? Oh man, it is Graham. And he's muted, but I'm going to unmute him.
Okay.
And
we're
going
to get him to turn his video on for us.
Graham,
this is for you.
Turn on your video, bud.
Arc Dressel.
This is great radio.
Might be having some camera issues here.
All right,
there we
your
go.
Beautiful dulcet tones. All right,
Can you see me? Nice. Okay.
No,
Coming.
but we see a loading version of you.
Yeah, my internet's a little
Later
sketchy right now. I'm having some internet issues.
It's all right. We can always talk to the black box. Great, your voice is enough to
Judge,
move hearts and
I'm
minds of
live,
anybody.
Judge. I am not a cat.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a black box.
I'm not a black box.
Except for emotionally.
Aren't we all though?
Oh,
that's
beautiful.
okay. A little bit off season.
Well, it's nice to see you, fellas.
Yeah, it's nice to see you as
it's good
well.
to see you too,
Around
man.
a little while. I
Yeah.
know. You and I got to catch up a couple weeks ago, but Justin,
It's
nice
good to
see
hear
your
you,
beautiful face.
at the very least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So,
But-
Graham, before you came on, what's up?
You're about to say exactly what I'm about to say, so hit him with it.
All right. So before you came on, we had sort of done a little bit of recruiting business. We're about to get into these transfers, and we know that even in your unrealized black box form, you have spent a lot of time researching and watching tape on both of these guys. I was wondering, before we get into the the impact and the actual on the field sort of ramifications of what happened yesterday, do you have any thoughts on sort of the strategic planning that went into the timing of these announcements, right? Like first day of the end of the dead period within minutes of each other with a bunch of 5-stars on campus. Have you talked about that with anyone yet?
I've thought about it a little bit. I mean, we've heard for a couple weeks now. Like I think a few weeks ago, I got a DM on Twitter from somebody that I trust that was like, Eric Gilbert's a silent commitment to Georgia, and I was like, I didn't know that was still a thing, But I do think Kirby Smart is extremely savvy at like understanding the modern kind of way that we consume sports and college football in particular, and he's very good at keeping his program sort of on the forefront of the news, and like perception is reality with a lot of this stuff, and he's really good at, I think, like spacing out commitments throughout the season and sort of always giving that perception of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I think the timing yesterday, like Kendrick, we've known for a while, right, that he was coming, but it was sort of based on his ability to get those charges dropped or reduced in South Carolina. So I think that was a legal thing. But you guys are in Athens. You would know better than I do. Like, was yesterday the first day to register or like enroll for summer school or something along those lines? Because it feels like maybe that was part of it as well.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was the report day. I don't know if it's. I can sort of speak to this because I worked in the whole academic athletics side of it. A lot of these guys are taking Maymester and Junemester classes. Mm-hmm. I'm imagining it was Junemester report day, which is like there's a Junemester and then there's if it's still. I'm sure that my wife will yell at me because she knows more about this than I do currently. But if it's still like it had been in the past, there's both Junemester and through summer classes probably start on the same day. I imagine it had to do more with that than it had to do with actual like team activities. But the fact that coincided with, I would think that that's probably not an accident that both of those announcements coincided with the first time that there have been recruits on UJ's campus. In like 15 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That can't have been an accident. I have no idea why my video is so bad right now. I hope that my audio doesn't suck.
It's a little choppy, but it's okay. I will say, there has to be some sort of reasoning. You're right, Graham. What you said, like there has to be some sort of reasoning behind why it all landed on the same day and in that way, and it was all planned, obviously, because all of the exclusive interviews all came out at the same time, which I thought was great. But I just did a quick looking into the calendars and everything. It doesn't look like classes actually start till next week. Classes begin on June 11th, and so it's got to be something like that. Wait, you're right though that they're allowed to be there. There's got to be a rule that says you can't do XYZ with recruits or new students until this day or whatever it is, or move-in day. It might just be move-in day kind of thing. Who can say? But it was brilliant. It was brilliant the way it was all planned out. It was definitely like a PR masterpiece, the way it all kind of came about. Yeah. It was orchestrated in that way, even with all of the third-party journalists.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did seem incredibly orchestrated to me.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it was, and it kind of just like, I don't know about you guys or sort of, what message boards and stuff like that you frequent, if any. But it feels like those rumors like had been just sort of building, and then like, sort of this crescendo was happening, but like I'm not enough in the know to like, be kind of 1 degree removed from the source, but I know some people that were, and like whatever was happening was like very well orchestrated, just because like I got some messages in the morning that were like, yeah, like pay attention around 3:00 in the afternoon. So it was like clearly something was going on there from a behind the scenes PR standpoint, and that it was really well done. I mean, I kind of wonder a little bit like, is it better to do both at once, or would it have been better to like space them out, or what? But I mean, yeah, I think you're right. Like both you guys are right, coming off the dead period and immediately like having that big like pop and go like, I mean that's what everybody's been talking about, that covers college football for the last 24 hours now. So it was pretty brilliant on their part.
I imagine it also lines up with what Nathan was bringing. Nathan, you brought up earlier that 15 5-star recruits are coming through in the next week or so to visit the campus. And so...
Yeah, I mean, in the month of June.
They're priming the pump.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like.
Definitely the right terminology. I'm just going to turn my camera off because God hates all Georgia fans, but me especially.
So it's just me on camera.
Yeah, just your beautiful face.
Here I am.
So let's talk about this like on-field impact. I think it's I don't want to say that, is it Eric, right, Gilbert? Mm-hmm. It's not Eric, right? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right.
I believe
it's Eric. Both, but I hear it just pronounced normal Eric more often than not.
I don't want to say Eric Gilbert is like a known commodity, but there's a pretty obvious way that he fits into Georgia's plans going forward. Based on, Graham, I know you've watched a lot of film on this. What is your take on, just Darian Kendrick's fit into UGA's defense? Do you have like a player comp or a guy that you think that he kind of, fits into a role of that he would be, quote unquote, replacing going forward? Or, what do you think he brings fit wise to this defense for next year?
Yeah, no, I definitely think Richard LeCount was a safety, obviously, and Kendrick is a defensive back, but like he has a little bit of that mentality of LeCount where he's willing to kind of gamble at times and sort of freelance responsibly. A lot of the reason why Tyreek Stevenson's no longer at UGA. Like, one reason was he wanted to play defensive back instead of star, but another reason was that like he had that tendency to sort of freelance, but he wasn't always that great at it, and the coaches didn't want him to do it, and he disagreed. So everyone decided to part ways, right? But like LeCount was able to take some of those gambles and risks in a way that that I think Kirby loved. You know, like it seemed like of all the guys to come through the program, Smart was as close to LeCount as probably anyone that we've seen in his tenure. So I think there's a little comp there. Like there's some plays you can see where he reads the quarterback and just like basically whatever he's seeing, I think he believes like the quarterback is throwing it to that guy. He's not just licking me off right now, and he'll leave a guy in man coverage to go and make a play. More often than not, he's right. Like it is kind of probably conducive to giving up some big plays, but I think with like the way that these passing offenses are in modern college football, you're going to give up points and you're going to give up big plays against like the Alabamas or the 2019 LSUs of the world or some of the Clemson teams of the last few years with Lawrence or Watson. So maybe kind of making that gamble and going for that interception is a better decision. Body-wise, he honestly does remind me a little bit of like Tyreek Stevenson. Not quite as like broad-shouldered as Stevenson was, but I mean he's a big guy. He's 195 pounds, 6 foot. He's pretty stout, and he's a superb athlete. Was a all-everything recruit, and kind of checks all those boxes. So style of play-wise, like he's definitely kind of that physical sort of bump kind of corner that like you are used to seeing with Kirby Smart. He's gonna really like play close into the body. Not exceptionally like long framed or long arms like an Eric Stokes was, but when he does have a chance to play the ball, like he has very good hands. I mean, he was a high school wide receiver, and he kind of tries to catch the ball more in the way that a wide receiver would. So that's kind of what I've seen. More than anything, I think you're getting like he's definitely going to play that wide defensive back spot, and so with him there, Tyke Smith at the star, and then the 2 returning safeties, like now you have one position to fill in the secondary with someone that's kind of an unknown commodity instead of 3, and that unit could very well be a strength now instead of like a glaring weakness.
Awesome. So I mean, impact wise, I would say, and I'm definitely willing. Oh, hello, Anna.
Anna's on live video. We're live
Anna
streaming.
has entered the chat. So impact wise, I would say, and feel free to chime in or agree, disagree with all of this. It feels like secondary went from being, sort of the most important, you need to solve this if you're going to be a successful team, positions, to being something maybe downgraded a level of worry here. I wouldn't say that I feel like suddenly like, okay, we're the 85 Bears, like we're buttoned up back there. But I do certainly feel that Georgia fans should feel like there's a little bit more surety back there just with the experience that he brings. I don't know what y'all thought. Yeah.
No, I agree 100% with you. Yeah. I mean, I think to a man, probably the Georgia coaching staff would tell you that Kendrick is probably the more important addition than Gilbert. Gilbert is an incredible luxury. Like he's like adding just kind of like piling on really at that point. Like there's probably a really good like pop culture analogy. It's like he's like another X-Man, kind of like you've already got a large group of really strong like figures in the scene, and you just throw another one on top of it, and it's nice. It's a luxury. I think he's the type that like he might be the difference between winning by 35 instead of like 24 some days. But like I think Kendrick is a necessity with what Georgia's going to see, and I think the Turnage transfer from Alabama shouldn't be discounted either, because like the Florida game last year, you and I talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago, Nathan. Like that breakdown happened, right? Like not number one wide receiver versus number one DB or number two versus number two and so on and so on. It was like when you got to the backup tight end versus our linebackers or the running back coming out of the backfield versus our linebackers, like that was where the breakdowns kind of really started to happen, and the being spread out was just too much and the dam sort of broke. And so like having this depth to where you can run 6 or 7 DBs out there if you really have to against a particular offense, I think is what's required when you. Sorry, did I break up?
You're good.
Just saying, but we got you. You're good.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, all I was gonna say is like I think having like 6 or 7 defensive backs that you can trot out at the same time may be what's required to beat like an Oklahoma in a playoff game or an Alabama from last year.
Gotta keep them fresh. Can I also say I absolutely love so much, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like, Graham, you realized all at the same time, you were like, oh, I'm doing a Chapel Bell Curve thing. I need to throw in a relevant pop culture reference.
I was trying to think of something. No, I mean, like, I somewhat did feel that way, but more than anything, I was like, what's the reality of the situation?
Yeah,
like,
I loved it.
Yeah. If we couldn't do tortured pop culture analogies on this channel, what would we have, right? Like, that's the whole damn thing.
What's the point?
A little strained.
Yeah. It's all right. We've had more strained in the past. So, moving on to Gilbert, obviously incredible luxury. I mean, and I'll just say this: I don't even have to ask. Graham about this. I mean, one thing you got to understand about Gilbert, if you're just coming into the situation, the excitement with him is not just that he is a tight end; it's that Darnell Washington, we all know. Anyone who's watched a Georgia football game last year knows Darnell Washington is an incredible, inhuman freak of nature. And there's an argument to be made that Eric Gilbert is a more special physical specimen than Darnell Washington. And I mean, he is a 245-pound wide receiver functionally, right? I mean, my understanding is that like he's going to be basically split out from the get-go when he comes in. What do we think about? Obviously, you're not replacing George Pickens, and you're definitely not replacing George Pickens in offense schematically with Eric Gilbert. To what extent does this lessen the blow of Pickens' injury, do we think? I really thought that Graham had just left the chat.
Did he not? I thought we just
sorry.
left. There he is.
No, everything just like rebooted on me. I apologize.
No, it's all right. You're all right.
I heard like kind of you were talking about Eric Gilbert, but I didn't like in just sort of the gazelle that he is. But I'm sorry, like I didn't hear your
I'm just curious.
Your
like
question.
Obviously, we're not replacing George Pickens with Eric Gilbert. They're just two very different players, and George Pickens is a special guy. To what extent can we replace his production with Eric Gilbert? Like, how does that feel? How does that feel about? Like, in the same way that we are less worried about the cornerback spot, are we less worried about wide receiver production now? Like, what does he actually bring as a wide receiver, right? Not just a tight end.
No, it's totally. I mean, I think like the obvious thing is his height, right? And like Darnell Washington, they lined up on the outside at times last year, but I don't know that he's totally natural there. Like his route running ability is still pretty raw. Eric Gilbert is a superb route runner, not just for a person his size, but like for anyone playing college football anywhere. So I kind of feel like he, where like you may see him do the most damage, there's the obvious of the jump ball like down the field, and he does sort of replace like Pickens in that aspect, just having that big target that can go get like those 50-50 balls. But what like I think you'll see is like Todd Monken really likes to run those kind of quick underneath routes, and like that part of the offense never really got going or fully installed last year. Even under JT, like there was still kind of more of these like long chunk kind of throws, and I think you'll see Gilbert just like probably line up on alone on one side and you stack a bunch of receivers on the other, and the defense is forced to like either cover Gilbert in a one-on-one situation that he's going to win, or have a numbers disadvantage in the box or against the stack on the other side. And so like kind of depending on what the defense does, Georgia will take advantage of wherever the numbers dictate that advantage lies. I think like Georgia's receiving production, even without Eric Gilbert and Pickens gone out of the offense, like I wasn't super worried about it. But it's pretty scary when you start thinking about like Darnell Washington, Eric Gilbert, Jermaine Burton, Harris Jackson, some combination of like Arian Smith, yeah, like to stretch the field. You start thinking about all these problems that you create, and like I think you really have the weapons there to run like the ideal kind of spread offense as it was, designed and imagined probably like by whoever originated it, where you take a guy like Smith and you're throwing him little screen passes or stuff out in the flat where he's like stretching the field horizontally, and then you've got these guys that can go, up the seams and down the sidelines and stretch everything vertically, and it's just like it's going to be a lot of strain, and I don't know, I just don't know like anybody in the country or in college football, or maybe even like save for like a historically good like defense, like I don't know, like 2001 Miami or something that has like Ed Reed and all these guys. Like I just don't know who you cover all those guys with at any point in time. So I mean that's kind of, even before Gilbert, it was like a really exciting group. But with him, and there's still the prospect like Pickens could show back up at the Florida game at some point and just make things even more terrifying, right?
God, you can't say that crap out loud, man.
Well, yeah, he could also like decide to opt out and go pro, and be like, I've done enough, and I'm not gonna come off an injury and jump straight back into live action football. And and I don't think anybody would really blame him for doing so. This scary thing to say, and I don't mean this in a demeaning way to Pickens, because he's an incredible talent and one of the most like fun Georgia football players we've had to watch in a really long time, but like I don't know how much better this offense really gets if you plug him back into it. Like I just I don't, just because there's so much depth there. I mean, like we're not even really kind of talking about like a guy like Blaylock coming off an injury, or like Rosemy is an incredibly skilled route runner as well. So like there's just a ton of guys to throw the ball to there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, so I put this to all three of you. Then, Graham, did you have anything else you wanted to say about Gilbert?
You're counting Pepper in this one, right?
I think like one thing that's fun. I don't know if you saw this or not. I'll send it to you if you want to, or I'll put it on the Discord or something. But I found that screenshot back from the article that you and I did before last season on Monken, that you and I did for Dog Sports, which was just in hindsight a really fun piece, and I think like
also really right.
We got a lot right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
which never really happens, so we're gonna gloat on it.
Yeah.
But no, there's a screenshot in there that we put in the article, and it was from like I think Southern Miss when they were in the Conference USA Championship game under Monken, and it's this flat like this stats that they flash up on the screen on ESPN, and like his offense has basically 2,000-yard receivers, 2,000-yard running backs, and a 4,500-yard passer. And I think that's very much like in the realm of possibility. The rushing thing, just because you have four guys to split carries with, like might not break down 1,000 and 1,000. It might be like 800 and 800 and 500 and 300. But like I think you could have a team with 2,000 rushing yards and 4,000 passing yards, 4,500 passing yards. Like, if this isn't the best Georgia offense we've ever seen, it would be pretty shocking, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I guess that leads us naturally into sort of where we're thinking going forward. I mean, Graham, I know you were on this way early last week saying taking over on 10.5 wins for Georgia is just easy money, especially with Eric, with Gilbert and Kendrick coming in, and you turn out to be right in the first half of that. So we were all, I think, all three of us have variously been on the Georgia 10.5 over already this year. I know Justin and I both said over last week when we were talking about the new over unders coming out. I mean, like, if that line's going to move to what, 11.5 now, right? Like,
I don't know if it does. That makes it too easy. As far as a betting thing goes, like,
yeah, maybe. I just feel like it feels like really easy money to me right now.
It does, right?
A good bet, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I haven't checked. Actually, I'll check while we're talking, but like, I noticed last week that like Georgia's only a 6.5 point favorite over Florida in Jacksonville as of last weekend, and it's like, I think if you can get Georgia against basically anybody but Alabama or Clemson and give less than a touchdown right now, there's probably pretty good value there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what are we thinking, Justin? Are we playoff or bust? Are we appearance in the natty or bust? Like, what do you think the pressure is after these transfers? Like, what do you think
I don't think it changes as much as it already had. I think we've already kind of established the expectations as a fan base, which we can talk about that extensively as well. But I think the playoff or bust ever since the natty for Georgia, I think it's been playoff or bust at the very least. People put some unreasonable expectations on these players, and that's kind of where we're at. We looked the gift horse right in the mouth.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I have seen that we've gone from like plus 800 in the odds to win the national title to plus 500. So I mean, at this point, Alabama's plus 250, Clemson's plus 400, and then you have Georgia at plus 500 ahead of Ohio State, who was at plus 600, and OU at plus 800. So that's a pretty big statement in terms of like how Vegas views the added value of those two guys, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think you're running out of excuses, right? It's like,
yeah.
It's like if 2 weeks ago, if you had asked me why won't Georgia win the natty, I would have been like, well, holes at cornerback, wide receiver production, and then maybe like, offensive line's got to settle in. But all three of those are just like multiple 5 stars, literally multiple 5 stars at each of those positions to hit, right? I mean, we talked a lot on Jeff Booker in the past about how like 5 stars are basically like high draft picks in the MLB. They're like lottery tickets, right? And it's just they're lottery tickets that hit at a higher rate. That's the whole point. You're more likely to hit on them. And it's like at this point, Georgia's got a lot of lotto tickets to redeem.
But also, I will add one thing that we have said before on this show is that I think it was in one of our lost episodes. Our lost episodes tend to be, kind of tinged with a bit of wisdom and a lot of sort of ennui. But one of the things I remember...
Graham's face!
Hey, Graham's here now. One of the things I remember you saying, Nathan, was that, football is a dumb game played with an oblong ball where we watch a bunch of teenagers throw it back and forth and maybe catch it. And 50% of the time, someone wins and the other one loses, And so it's one of those things where it's like, anything can happen.
Right. Totally. No, I hate Gary Danielson with a pretty strong passion.
Mm-hmm. Same.
I feel like he's made money off of like criticizing, kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he did say, like, I was watching a game one time, I don't know, many years ago. It was like an LSU Arkansas game maybe, and like this crazy like busted coverage happened, and the wide receiver is like wide open in the end zone and just like drops a pass, like Stone Cold drops it that hits it in his hands, and like he basically like made the point like, in college football the athletes are so good, but like they're not pros yet, like they haven't perfected everything. They are, like and a lot of times like that's on the mental assignments too. So like you can get a 2nd and 26, right, where like your safety just forgets how to play cover two after playing it all season long. You know, like there's just weird shit that happens, and like I think that's the qualifier, right? Like as Georgia fans, for any discussion about where this team could go or should go, is like we've seen that type of shit happen over and over and over again. You know, and I think to some extent, like we've probably all been so collectively traumatized that it feels like the scene in like Gladiator where he's like talking about like the dream that is Rome. Like if you speak it above a whisper, it'll vanish into midair.
All right,
That's
that
sort
was a
of
good
how
cut.
it feels.
That was a pop culture
Thank you.
cut.
Thank you. Bam. No, but I
There
mean,
it
like,
is.
it's true, right? Like, I've been sitting here. Sorry, my dogs are barking. But I've been sitting here, like, the last 24 hours, like, this team has everything that it should have to win a national title. It's just, will it happen or not?
Yeah. Will it happen or not?
Yep. Well, so, Graham, I was gonna say you
Gonna
could
go
leave
shut
if
the
you
dogs
needed
up.
to, but he beat me to it. So, Graham, if you want to stick around, I think we have some listener questions, some of which I think you'll be able to, some of which you can answer, some of which you can say are too bullshit for you.
I'll pick
I'll
through a
hang
few
out
for
a
you.
little bit.
Okay, I'll pick
All
through a
right.
few.
Yeah, so we're gonna get to our favorite subject segment, Ask CBC, everyone's favorite subject segment, where we take questions from our listeners, and
Mm-hmm.
this is Ask CBC presented by Cheerwine, the wine what gave you diabetes.
I'm gonna start near the
Not
bottom since we still have Graham with us.
yeah,
Because it seems like one of our newest listeners is also vying for that James Bearfield spot, and which we'll come back to in just a second. So I want to start with Jay Ashley, actually. So Jay Ashley asks, healthy George Pickens versus Eric Gilbert?
That's a
I
tough one.
mean, yeah. It's like compared to their positions, you take Eric Gilbert because
Yeah.
he's more special compared to the average tight end, probably.
So think about the
Pickens
whole
is the average
package
wide
too,
receiver.
and think about the future of both players potentially. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people have the perception that George Pickens is immature and very young, and at the same time, I'm like, yeah, he's a teenager.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. But kind of take into account all of those different things and think about it from I guess a scout, an agent, that sort of
I
thing.
I think probably still Pickens, but it's really close. If Pickens is healthy and he comes through this with a clean bill of health, um, I mean he just has more speed, right? I mean he's probably only a little bit faster, but he is fast,
Hmm.
and I think that's the way the game is played right now. Basically, I don't know. What do you think?
It's tough, right? Like, because truthfully, if you want to look at it objectively, like both have had some mental,
Mental
stuff going
lapses.
on. Allegedly, yeah. Like Pickens has had the kind of self-regulation issues, so to speak, like when he beat the shit out of the Georgia Tech kid. Um, but Gilbert apparently had like some stuff going on, last year. But like, I don't know. I was an 18-year-old college freshman, and I definitely struggled like adjusting from living at my mom and dad's house to being in college and all that stuff. So like, I feel like that's fairly normal. We just expect these guys not to do it because
Hmm.
they're
They're
football
on
players. But
TV.
yeah, I mean, you're on TV. Um, I think the thing that really like probably maybe swings this in favor of Gilbert is just the route running ability. Like, look, I love George Pickens, but like he basically runs like a slant, a curl route, and a
Hitch.
go route. Yeah, exactly. So it's like I don't know that you know he's totally polished in that regard. Gilbert's also like really good after the catch. Like it's tough because like we probably see Pickens as more of a known commodity, and he is, but like Gilbert only played like 6 or 7 games last year and was LSU's third leading receiver. Like
Yeah.
I think that he's good, right? So I don't know. That's a really tough one. Like I think this term gets overused a lot, but like as a prospect coming out of high school, like Gilbert's one of the more unique athletes we've ever seen, and I don't say that in a hyperbolic manner. Like he really is just a freak in terms of how good his feet are for someone his size and how soft his hands are for like a big mountain-sized man. So it's probably Eric Gilbert, to be truthful. I should add the caveat that like I enjoy watching George Pickens play as much as anyone, just because like there's something extremely kind of unpredictable about his athleticism. It feels like he can just sort of do anything at any time. But yeah, Gilbert's probably the more like guy that you could see just like tearing up the NFL for 10 years.
Oh yeah. Additional question from Jay Ashley. What is our biggest need at this point?
I mean, you probably would like another Harry and Smith burner type, I guess, in the wide receiver room. I mean, there's not a lot.
Tough. I would say that, I mean, like, I don't know that it's a need that you would address in the transfer portal. I think the biggest, like, question mark at this point is the offensive line, right?
Yeah.
There's still a lot to shake out there. There was, going back and looking at G-Day, having rewatched that a few times now, like, there was some kind of rough moments. That game actually made me appreciate JT Daniels even more so than before, just because like he threw a lot of passes flat-footed and off platform because the O-line was struggling. I think I think the hope is maybe that some of these younger guys catch on quick enough to assert themselves, just because athletically they're probably a little more gifted than some of the guys that have been there a little bit longer. I don't know. I'll break some intel on your show via a guy I know that works at a local Athens golf course who talked to a member of the coaching staff recently.
Way to trace your sources.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I guess basically what I'm saying is there's a very good chance, according to some folks that are more in the know than I am, that we could see not just one of, but both of Broderick Jones and Amarius Mims in the starting lineup against Clemson, which would
really
surprise me a lot. But that's apparently they kind of like hid them on the second team at G-Day to sort of play coy a little bit with whoever might have watched the film of that.
Jones is a redshirt freshman, right? Because it's not his second year. You got to think he's who they'd like to be at left tackle, right? Because like then you can move Sawyer inside.
Yeah, you can get Schaefer out of there.
His more natural position. Schaefer has looked like a mess sometimes. All right, give me the last one in this chunk.
Thoughts on White Claw iced tea?
I don't like fake iced tea flavored things. I do like a White Claw. There's some good White Claws, but I'm not a big iced tea like in flavored.
I had my first Truly and White Claw at Dragon Con 2 years ago, and I had really been missing out. It's just not something I reached for usually, but just kind of found myself in that situation, and I'd try it. I'd give it a go. Haven't had the iced tea yet. I like a good peace tea.
Say my hard seltzer tip is, even for those of us who are not like hard seltzer inclined, Topo Chico's hard seltzer is very good.
They're very good.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I love Topo Chico. Regular version.
Those are the only ones I've liked so far. The rest of them, they just feel very flat isn't the right word, because that's more referring to like the CO2 and everything, but it just feels very bland almost. Like it's empty. There's no substance.
Topo Chico has like a little bit of that minerality.
It does. It's got something else going on.
Topo Chico. Yeah. All right. A couple of other questions that are non-football.
Yeah.
These are from Abby, long time fan, number one fan of the show, Abby.
We love Abby.
Yeah, we do. Who's the one famous person, football related or not, that you desperately want to meet? I'm gonna assume living, the way this is framed.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's a hard question. It's a hard question.
That's hard to say. Yeah.
Is this meet or like hang out with?
Let's say like you get a beer with this person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you go from there.
Huh.
Shit.
It's a hard question.
There's a really tough question.
I'll give a dumb answer.
Okay.
assuming I just want to like hang out with like a celebrity, right? But it's in a scenario where I am just like gonna have a beer with this person and we'll see where things go or whatever. Not like we're gonna have sex, but like we maybe will hang out more if we hit it off or whatever. Friend wise, friend type wise.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like current Hollywood celebrities, it for me it has to be Sebastian Stan, the guy who plays Bucky in the Winter Soldier. Everything I've seen of him on social media is that he's like a really laid back, grumpy, my kind of guy. Like I feel like he's the famous person that would probably put up with me the best. But in terms of just people, yeah. In terms of just people like I want to meet, I don't know, man. I mean, probably Dolly Parton.
Yeah, Dolly Parton's pretty awesome,
one, dude. That's solid. Yeah.
I want to.
All right, I got one.
Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead, Justin.
No, please go.
No. All right, mine's McConaughey, dude. I would totally. So, full confession. Part of Graham's, off-season reading list was Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey's memoir, which was unexpectedly phenomenal. I just I don't know, man. The dude, there's something like he's probably my biggest man crush currently. That's currently working.
Have you heard
in Hollywood?
I'm not going to out him on air because I don't know if he would want me to share the story. But have you heard Josh's McConaughey story? Josh Hancher of Doc Sports Live, and
I have yes. The fake attorney letter.
Yeah. So
it was a good one.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty down to earth guy. What do you got, Justin? Sorry, Graham. Go ahead.
Well, no, I actually was friends when I lived in California. This is such a I lived in California story. But I was friends with the guy who was his body double for some movie, I forget which, and they did kind of have some very striking similarities with their features. But apparently when he met McConaughey and he was on the set of this movie and everyone was talking about how much he looked like McConaughey, and so one day they finally cross paths and McConaughey apparently just walks up to him and just stops and kind of stares him up and down for a few seconds and just looks at him and he's weird and just shakes his head and walks away. So I don't know, I just feel there's a lot of stories of him just kind of being weird in a cool way, right? I don't know. I feel I'd want to hang out.
He's definitely weird.
Be eccentric. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's different.
I'm afraid that meeting McConaughey would I'd see behind the curtain too much, and it would kind of destroy the illusion a little bit. But I'm also interested in the same way that you're interested, just because he seems very eccentric, and I want to be what's your deal? What's going on back there?
It does seem like if you said, 100%. What's your deal to him?
What's your deal?
You could just say, what's your deal? And then be quiet for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he would just tell you
what his
deal is.
Exactly what his deal is.
You go, Justin.
My celebrity is, I really want to meet Brendan Lee Mulligan, which is a very specific celebrity.
Okay. That's
from Dimension 20. It's a deep cut. He's a D&D
guy famous for YouTube videos.
He plays
he's been in College Humor
Dungeons and Dragons professionally. He's in College Humor, Dropout TV.
He's done it a lot. He's been in a lot of viral YouTube videos. You've probably seen him in something.
Yeah, and the reason why I choose Brendan Lee Mulligan is just because I think we would get along, one, but also if I choose any celebrity that, any celebrity that I'd want to meet, actually, I would probably just want to look at them. And that would be the end of it. Wow, you're really beautiful, and I really enjoy all the things you've been in. And I don't know what I would do with that necessarily. It wouldn't be much substance, but it is what it is. Next question comes from Ian. Best college football theme song, old or new? And he says CBS, ESPN, etc.
We didn't do the Dolly Parton question. We can answer this question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Let's answer this question.
Favorite Dolly Parton song? From Abby. That was Abby's second question. My bad.
Sorry, I just love Dolly Parton so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Go to Many Colors.
Oh, damn. Okay.
That's a good one.
Classic.
I just really love...
No, go ahead. You go.
I was going to say, I just really love any of her slower ballads, but I also really, really enjoy My Tennessee Mountain Home. Yeah.
How? I'm impressed that y'all are deep cuts. This is not as deep a cut, and I hate to use one that is originally composed for the soundtrack of, but I got to go with 9 to 5, man.
Oh, yeah.
Song bops.
it's incredible every single time. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
Jolene, 9 to 5, like, absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Thank
So,
you, Dolly,
let's go
for
to
everything.
Ian.
So Ian's question: best college football theme song, old or new? CBS, ESPN, etc. What y'all got?
Oh, it's a CVS 3:30 game, right? And I don't think you're ever going to get better than the.
Yeah, it is. The problem is that like the CBS Sports Network started using that like for like a random like Air Force versus Akron game on like a Tuesday night. It kind of took a little of the
some of the
sheen
thrill
off
out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it used to be like, oh, I'm hearing this music. Like I'm about to watch like Peyton Manning play football or some shit.
Here it goes.
That one's good. There was the old, I want to say like maybe early to mid 2000s ESPN like Saturday night football intro music was good. The one that was like da 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 da. I could probably find a YouTube link for it at some point.
That was good.
It's all nostalgic. Like it's all depending on like when you were like like getting into college football, right? Or like realizing that you enjoyed it. So like for me, that was like kind of that pre-teen, early teen period where I was like, oh, I really like this. It's not just like my parents that like it.
Not a theme song, but a song associated with college football that I have Stockholm syndrome about is that freaking Fall Out Boy song, Centuries.
Yes.
I think it was the first.
Oh, that's terrible, dude. Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad, and I agree. But I like it. I think that was the first CFP. That was they were like, we are gonna play this song. Yeah, we are gonna play this song until
That
you
song
like
is
it.
so bad.
I know, but I just no, it's okay. You're not gonna get us demonetized. We're not monetized, so it's fine.
So
wait, all right, hold on. Sorry to go like off topic here, but like since we're on the topic, like favorite fight song for you guys is what? Like other than Georgia, because you're obviously biased. Like, is there a song that like when you hear it, you're like, shit, like begrudgingly, I must admit that's badass.
that is a very good song.
Oh boy, this is a minefield. I'm gonna
yeah.
say the ones I like. I'm gonna say the ones I like to avoid saying the ones I hate.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's is not bad. It's a pretty good. It really is. It really is like musically. It is a well composed song. That's the nicest thing I'm ever gonna say about Florida on this podcast. I promise. I think Tiger Rag, especially LSU's version, really good. Like if you want to see one of the like high watermarks of just like what can a collegiate football marching band do was like anywhere from like 2008 to like 2013 LSU. Pretty much anything they played is just, it blows my mind. I mean, and if you think Neck is the fight song, but yeah, Tiger Rag's pretty good.
That was the hard thing I was gonna say is like, can Tiger Rag really be counted when
the thing
Neck is like the unofficial fight song?
Not to be all like marching band, like Homer.
Neck was Southern, right?
Yeah, Neck is technically Southern, which really sucks. Like because, to be clear, Southern is another marching band in Baton Rouge. It's not even like they stole it from like another part of the state. Like they just started playing a new arrangement of a song that Southern had already made famous. I don't know, Justin. What do you think?
I was only gonna say I not because I enjoyed like your question was what song do you hear that you're like this is good. Admittedly, I can't answer that as much as the first thing that comes to mind is I just really love all of the like the kind of memedom and all of the mess that comes with the existence of Rocky Top. Just how much everyone hates it, how much everyone talks about it, how much everyone makes fun of it. Like I love all the ripple effects that come from just the pure existence of Rocky Top.
The most chaotic answer possible. Hail to the Victors is a pretty good song. Michigan's fight song. It's catchy.
It is. It's good.
There's some Big Ten.
The Big Ten bands are good, right?
Well, they have some really good. Most Power 5 fight songs were written in a time period that Big Ten bands based a lot of their pregame style on. a lot of Big Ten band pregame style is like early 1900s marching band, like field bands, and that's what a lot of what they do. So Michigan's is really good. Wisconsin's is really good. I don't states that much, but whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. What would you say, Graham?
Well, I agree with you that like some of the Big Ten ones are classic. The one that like I kind of begrudgingly have to admit like always gets stuck in my head whenever I hear it is actually Georgia Tech's is a very catchy
Oh yeah,
tune.
it's an
If I'm
Irish
being honest.
drinking song.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah, like it makes you want to like
Jake.
do things. Yeah,
Um,
but I think that like an underrated one is the little. And I don't know if it's like their official fight song or not. Well, two underrated ones. One is like the little thing that the Texas A&M band does, like whenever they get like a first down. It's kind of like a form of like charge, but it's like, but I don't know, I can't quite do it. And then the one that LSU does when they get like a third down stop or like a turnover.
they changed the name of it because it used to be called Chinese Bandits.
That's probably not the best, huh?
Yeah, it's not what it's called now. But yeah, that one
Not
is
the
good.
best.
And FSU's is good too, man. Admittedly,
Yeah.
but again, one that probably needs to be updated for certain reasons.
Modern times. Yeah, I do want to I also want to point out that neither technically, if I want to just like push up my non-existent glasses and say, well, actually, to the whole world here, Rocky Top and Georgia are not fight songs. Rocky Top and Georgia are both technically school songs. Tennessee's fight song is Down the Field, and Georgia's fight song is Hail.
Okay.
So if you ever want to like be the least popular person at a party,
Well, actually,
like if you talk around someone who is in Tennessee's band and you call Rocky Top the fight song, they will correct you. And I lived in Knoxville for 2 years.
Play it 75 times a game.
Yeah. The sad
All
thing is, Down the Field is good. Their actual fight song is pretty good. All right, go ahead.
In the words of my father, I'll live through a pandemic for the rest of my life if I don't have to hear Rocky Top when we play Tennessee. That's what he said at the Georgia-Tennessee game last year when their band wasn't there.
Yeah.
all right. Next question from Irk
Savage.
Russell. I'm going to move us along here. Since we
Sorry.
you're good. Since we seem to have our pick of all the players in the portal, are there any others still out there for us?
I'd be shocked if they used another spot. I think they'd have to really find. Right. I mean, they would have to be someone coming to them and being like, "I'm a starter on a Power 5 team. I want to play Georgia."
I think it would have to be somebody that's like, I'm a star of a 5 team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
I mean, like
if,
the way all this shit's going, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
can't
if
roll it
somebody
out.
gets
Yeah,
into,
absolutely.
like a week into fall camps, like, nope, don't like this guy. That
Yeah.
new laws in Georgia, I can go down there and get like $100,000 from that car dealership. I'm dipping out.
Come on down, Chris Olave.
Next question for Irk Russell. With Dan Mullen getting a raise and paid more than Kirby for his 8-4 season, does Kirby's raise come before or after this season?
Oh man, I got a lot to say about this.
I think they. All right. Well, let's pause. Hold on. I'm really. This is like one of these like sources say. I feel. I want. I know. Kind of things. Okay. And we can talk about this later off air. I know that Josh Brooks is a very smart person, and he is not just like smart in the way that he is not just smart in the way that people say that every administrator is smart. He is a savvy guy. I've actually met him once. He's a really nice guy. So we could start with the idea that like Kirby's going to get whatever he wants, right? I mean, and Kirby is going to just basically name a number and he's going to get it. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Correct?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I will be interested. There is precedent in other athletic departments for there to be sort of like a Black Monday kind of deal in like May or June. And I would not be shocked if we saw some like Kirby gets his extension, Cream gets canned, there's a new golf coach or whatever, and also there's a new gymnastics or like there are a lot of universities that stuff kind of tends to come in bunches. So that's why I would be inclined to say May, but I don't think if it was in the summer that it would be because they were hardballing Kirby. Jimmy Sexton is gonna walk in there with a number on a piece of paper, and Josh Brooks is gonna say yes. And it's gonna be more complicated than that. That's essentially what's gonna happen.
No, it might not be much more complicated than that if it's in the right ballpark, right? Like, I mean, I wrote an article like late last night that started getting a little traction today on Twitter for Dog Sports, but the headline was in all caps: Mullen extended! Christmas comes early in Athens. Because I think Dan Mullen's a really not very good head coach at a very, very good job. The fact that he's now the third highest paid coach in the SEC, and that's 2 spots higher than the ranking of the best recruiting class that he has put together in his time in the conference, is kind of
I saw that take
messed up. Yeah.
I saw that take on Twitter already, but it was pretty brutal said out loud still.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I don't know what Florida's doing. Like, I really don't understand how a fan base that was, like, so demanding that they ran off Urban Meyer and Spurrier to a certain extent. It's just, like, fine with, recruiting in the middle of the league and going 8-4 with the best offense in school history and so on and so forth. But as far as Kirby goes, like, I think that, I mean, like, Florida may have kind of just like screwed the market for everybody, right? Because like with Saban, obviously Saban, he gets $10 million a year. Coach O at least has like a national title under his belt, but now like Mullen kind of like skips that line. He's making more than I think Jimbo is now, who also has a national title. So it's like, I think it depends on how the season goes. Like, if Georgia wins a national title, then, like, I think you gotta give Kirby, like, $8.5 or $9 million a year, which is a exorbitant amount of money, but, like, that's probably what the market dictates, right? Or maybe you give him, like, $10.1 million and just be like, yeah, take that, Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna... It's one of those things, it's kind of like baseball salaries where it's like, once the market is set, like, you can't ratchet it back down.
Right.
You can only ratchet up from there. So, let's get another question. We're going to run... I know we're going a little long, and I don't want to... Florida fans seem to be happy with the pay raise, which is another weird thing.
Yep.
Just to add on to what you said, Graham, like, it doesn't make sense to me from, like, even if I wasn't being mean to Florida fans. Like, if I was friends to a Florida fan, I would say, respect yourself. Like,
exactly,
what are you doing? Like, again, I don't know what, like, Twilight Zone is happening. I'm going to say 2 nice things about Florida in the span of, like, 30 minutes. Florida is, like, conservatively a top 10 job, or it should be.
100%.
You should be able to get whoever you want. You have unlimited money. You're in Florida. Florida is like, if like a bagman, like Florida is a bagman. Florida is a placenta for bagmen. Like, I don't, how, it makes no sense. I hate Urban Meyer, but at least like a like dead-eyed winner who will do nothing, it will morally compromise anything to win, is still a winner.
Right.
Like, I just, it's
no,
like...
it is, yeah, and it's the craziest thing about it too is like when you talk to Florida fans about it and they like actually get like soul level honest, like they'll just be like, well, who are we gonna hire that's better? And like, first of all, that doesn't mean like the lack of a better option on the market today right now does not mean that you have to, pay your coach too much money for the next 7 years. But second of all, like, that's how you end up with a Mark Richt type of situation for like 15 years, which at least Mark Richt was like winning SEC titles. I mean, he got a couple under his belt and at least should have had one more. But like, I don't know, man. I feel like with Mullen, like Mullen may really be like that guy for Florida that's just like kind of there and like hovers around 9 wins a year, and the fan base is so afraid of like things getting worse that they never take measures for things to get better. And if that happens, that's great for Georgia.
All right, next question. Justin, hit us up.
Well, it's kind of a slew of questions at this point, all from one of our favorite new friends, Consume the Rich. It's kind of like a
this is a UJ sousaphone. Her name's Yara. I didn't want to dox her last time, but her name is Yara.
I
All right.
will I will only add their name is Yara.
Yeah, I am so sorry. God,
That is
what
okay.
an asshole I am. Their name is Yara. Jesus Christ.
I got you. I'm here to support you. So Consume the Rich
Yeah,
sent
thank
like
you for
a
calling me out on that.
Consume the Rich like very much vying for the Dr. James Bearfield Troll Corner presented by Cheerwine spot in the
Very
show.
much. Very much.
To send in sort of a like a one-to-one conversational piece with himself, which I really love and respect. One, what kind of dog is the other person? And then in parentheses, so you assign a dog breed to Mr. Justin and vice versa, and why? Also, they call me Mr. Justin the entire time, and I've never been okay with being called Mr. anything, but I really appreciate it here. So, what kind of I thought about this, so I'll let y'all think about it for just a moment, since Graham didn't know we were going to ask this question. We can think up of the dog for Graham as well, but I really believe that Nathan is I believe 100% a mutt. My immediate reaction or my immediate instinct was to say he was like some sort of Saint Bernard, but I think he's a mutt, but with a very noticeable amount of poodle. Like straight up, people are like, "That's a poodle," and then the owner of Nathan is like, "No, he's a mutt." But you're like, no mistaking it. He's tall. He's very smart. He has a beautiful like curls and like all over, very well kept. And people are like, that's a poodle. But your owner continues to say, absolutely not. This is a mutt. That's my answer.
That's a very good answer.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna go for Graham.
Uh-huh.
What have either of you done any of the AT?
Portions of it in
sounds
Georgia.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you get on the AT at all and you're around through hikers, you haven't done the through hike, have you, Graham?
Not the full thing, but
Yeah.
I've done large sections of the AT.
Yeah. So I've done a significant chunk of it, and there's always a through hiker with like a trail dog, which is like some mix of like shepherd,
Those cattle dogs.
Yeah, like virtually indestructible, can run like 35 miles a day, would last like 45 minutes in a house.
Like,
Basically,
is that dog rock climbing?
yeah, just like the dog has a harness with like pitons and like free climbing chalk.
He's carrying his own food and shit.
Yeah.
Like there was a dog one time when I was on the AT with Boy Scouts. There was a dog that was like you know when an animal is smart enough that it's like unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Where you're like, that dog just got itself a beer. What is life?
Kind of like that, actually.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, that's I feel like the Graham dog.
Oh well, thank you. That's very kind of you. Yeah, our dog is actually a poodle mix, and she has enough intelligence to like understand how to play like peekaboo. Like she gets what's going on, which is like apparently indicative of like kind of the intelligence of like a 4 to 5 year old.
She has object permanence, yeah.
Yeah, she has object permanence. That's what it's called. Sorry. Yeah, so like I kind of wonder sometimes like what else is happening there that she just lacks the vocabulary to tell me about.
Yeah, she's like looking at you. She's like, Father, free me. I want to go to school.
Exactly, dude. All right, I got one for Justin. First of all, and I see you as an Afghan hound.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I think it's because you're very elegant. Like I think you're a
Thank
very
you.
elegant human being. Yeah,
I
like
love this.
The Afghan hound, the share of dogs.
Yeah, you're very graceful with like your, not just your words, but like your body language and body movements, and just like kind of this, nice slender-looking man, very handsome for a man. For the record, catwalk model kind of manner. So,
well, damn.
Except
very
for the
good.
dog.
All coming from a man who's never met me in person.
I know, that's true. And I was thinking about that when I was saying that. I was like, I want to say he's tall, but I don't know if he's tall.
I don't know how tall Justin is because I think everyone is a petite little man. So like he might just be a regular sized person.
What are you, like,
I couldn't tell you.
I'm 6 foot tall. Yeah. I will also add what's really funny if you look up Afghan hound. the very first like people also ask thing is, why is the Afghan hound the dumbest dog?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I think it's hilarious. It also
I
says,
just want to.
are
Go ahead,
they
go ahead.
dangerous? How smart are they? Do they make good pets? Do they have the highest IQ? Like people are all over the place with this Afghan hound. It cracks me up.
I just want to say that I in no way am insulted being called a poodle because poodles are badasses
They are badasses.
and they are often sort of clipped and groomed into being like little fancy boy dogs, but they are like working dogs. They're bred for curly hair because they don't shed because they were waterfowl dogs. They would like retrieve game and stuff.
And they're hypoallergenic. And that's
you
pretty cool.
They're also again another breed like Australian Shepherds, poodles. There's some other like shepherd mixes that they just have too much intelligence in their face, and you're just like, what is going on?
Wait, so Nathan, what is yours for Justin?
I was gonna say like a hold on, let me make sure I get the right. I was gonna say there is this dog that is like a beagle that's like a bigger beagle that I cannot remember. It's one of the spaniels it's a foxhound. that I
Bigger
cannot remember.
beagle.
I'm just gonna go with beagle.
Ooh.
Just very beagles. If you've ever seen like adult
Talking about a
beagles that are
harrier?
in good shapes, in good shape adult beagle, they're just very like dignified. They're very like
He's
take it.
an elegant man, isn't he?
An elegant man.
yeah. But
Dignified, elegant.
beagles also have this sort of like when we talked about each other as like what are our best qualities last time I said like Justin is very good like active listener, and beagles have the real like they're like therapists, like they like when they look at you they're like tell me your worries and they really want to know.
Lay
You know
them
what I mean?
down at my feet.
Yeah.
Next question.
All right.
What is your favorite
Wait, hold
song?
on, I got
Right?
one
Oh,
for Nathan.
Hit it.
I got one for Nathan real quick.
Okay.
All right, you remember that like TikTok video that went viral maybe like 6 months to a year ago of the husky when the guy was like, say woof, and the dog was just like, woof, like kind of basically talked. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're like that.
You're that dog. That dog
That
specifically.
specific dog, because you're like very,
Not
very
just
good.
the husky, but like
Yeah,
that
but like
specific dog.
that particular husky, yeah, because you're very good at like expressing your thoughts and feelings and emotions verbally.
My most traitorous impulse is that if I could have any dog, I would have a blue tick hound.
No, that's awesome. There's
Blue
nothing
ticks are
wrong with
amazing. Yeah.
that. They are.
All right, next question.
What's your favorite song right now?
I have listened to Olivia Rodrigo's album
You
all the way
would.
through like 15 times. So I am big on the driver's license train.
Uh-huh.
That is not my favorite Olivia Rodrigo song on that album, however. I really, really like Deja Vu. Oh, well, no, Jealousy is my favorite song right now. I don't know why I have like I emotionally resonate with like the angst of like 15-year-olds for some reason.
Yeah.
I guess it's just teaching for so long. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, I get that because oh my god, yeah. I just watched the Billie Eilish documentary on Apple. It's very, very, very fascinating. It made me like her a lot. So I actually like kind of started liking her music. But if I had to pick a favorite song that I've been listening to lately, it would be Cumberland Gap by David Rawlings.
Ooh, yes.
Which is a good one if you haven't heard it.
Nice.
There is a rendition of the song San Francisco by, I believe it was originally by someone McKinsey. That might be wrong. But it's an instrumental by Daniel Herskadal. And it is one of the most beautiful songs. I just have kind of listened to it over and over again. It came up on my Discover Weekly because my Discover Weekly kind of plays a bunch of like songs I can listen to while doing work at my desk. But that was one of the ones that popped up. It's gorgeous. Everybody should
All
listen
right,
to
let me give a non-meme answer then. If y'all are going to give good songs, there's a cover of the song "Wild Horses," which I adore, by a band called the Sundays. and it's just a female. It's a really stripped down female cover version of Wild Horses, and it is
Nice.
so emotional. All right, next question.
I'm going to hit you with the next several ones in lightning. Ready? So, we got 2 transfers yesterday, and you were very happy about it. I looked them up, and they're both very good. How do you think the transfers are going to fare at UGA / help us win? Also, are we going to get a natty now? I am tired of not winning.
They are the absolute like memeiest possible question asker. I don't know how to answer that in a quick way. Good and maybe.
Number 4, not really an Ask CBC question, but Mr. Justin, follow me on twitter.com challenge. Done. Followed. 5, I was researching UGA football the other day and saw that Sporting News, it's the tildes that like Sporting News, put UGA at number 5 in college football. Agree or disagree? Personally, I disagree because they put Clemson at number 2, and respectfully, UGA is going to beat Clemson's ass in Charlotte. Fuck the Tigers.
They have. You can tell this is someone who's been in the sousaphone section for a year because they already have that sort of like chaos energy, which is very powerful.
Disagree.
I can't see a number for under 4 making sense to me. Like I don't know how you.
Say it.
I'm gonna say it right now.
Say it.
Say it. Hot take it, Graham.
Number 1. Georgia should be number 1 preseason with what they have coming back.
Oh God, you burnt the rest of my eyebrow off with that take, man.
And I'll hot take you even one harder. Georgia is gonna beat Clemson's ass in Charlotte. Like,
fuck the Tigers.
I'm talking minimum 3 possession game, like a 17-point win.
Oh God, can you imagine the post game show? Like if we all got on here for another emergency podcast on Monday or whatever, the post game show after like a 21-point Clemson or Georgia blowout at Clemson, like
like I'll probably have like some shit drawn on my face or something still, or
you know how like that sometimes in earthquakes things will like you'll find like things in your house after earthquakes that have like been vibrated apart because like it hits the resonant frequency and it's kind of like out of my. That's what would happen to my chair. I would just twitch so much that I would just fall down midstream because I was so excited. All right, next question.
Number 6, also during UGA football research time, TM, I remember that Stetson Bennett exists. Is he good now or is he bad still? And also ugly.
Oh, he's not ugly, is he?
I don't think he's unique looking. The mustache is bad.
I'm not a person who is generally attracted to men, but I would not say that he's conventionally handsome.
I mean, I don't know. He's got a little of that like Blackshear sweat. He looks like a dude from Blackshear. Yeah,
if you're into that, then he's a fine example of it.
That's a very specific flavor.
I mean, he's still around, but he's not gonna. If he sees the field, it's because we're up 35 points on Georgia Tech or something.
Stetson Bennett's not bad. He's not good either.
He's a guy. Just a guy.
He's a guy.
Number 7. When do we get to see the sexy football facility?
That's actually a good question.
I run by it most days, and it's still being built.
Yeah. They're going to have to do some kind of video reveal of it. Mm-hmm. I actually know someone in the video department. I could probably talk to them.
Dude, exclusive. Yeah, I just saw that they did like they did the, what's it called? I guess it's the locker room, or no, the new offices. They showed that like the coaches moving into some new offices, but I keep seeing these pictures of recruits getting like retweeted and put out. Some dude today was sitting in like Cedric Van Pran's locker, and that thing looked like a throne. Like it was like this was a large human. It was like
the new lockers look like the like ultra exclusive Hong Kong Air first class like apartments. Like that's they don't. It's like that is to an airplane
first
seat
class.
What this locker is to a normal locker. Like
international
they don't have.
flight.
One thing I did see is that they don't have names over the lockers. They have a video screen with a picture of you and your height.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's wild.
All right.
Next
Give us
question.
another one.
Wait, so why did our Lord and Savior JT Daniels bring friends to California?
Because off-season workouts. Normally, it is traditional for quarterbacks to work with their wide receivers to work on timing and chemistry, just getting better playing together, specifically with each other. And we kind of went over it quite a bit on an episode a few days ago or a week ago because it is normal for a quarterback to play over the summer with his wide receivers and get ready. It is above and beyond for all of those people to take a trip across the country just to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the commitment is there at the very least. It's a pretty good PR move.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this
it's Hot Boy Summer.
Hot Boy Summer. I can't wait to see whatever season. Is it going to be the same?
Oh, dude, it's going to be good. I don't know what it is either, but
it's got to change.
I hope he gets a piercing. I want him to get I want him to be swaggy enough to be like the only starting QB with like a nose. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
Can you imagine how hard the internet would like freak out? Like how many just angry old dudes there would be if somehow the ESPN camera just caught him putting his mouthpiece in and there was a tongue ring in there or something.
Oh heck yeah.
I would love that.
Or I really want him to get a really big high color tattoo that is not like an athlete tattoo. It's just a tattoo of
it's Dolly's butterfly.
I want him to get Ben Affleck's back tat.
I want him to get an anime tattoo. I want him to get Naruto's jutsu headband tattooed on his forehead and then win a natty. Just so that because that's, if you really want to dunk on somebody, you dunk on him with Jujutsu Kaisen or
with Naruto arms.
Get the Team Rocket logo tattooed on your neck, you coward.
I'm looking at JT's Twitter feed and some of his Twitter likes right after he originally committed to transfer to Georgia in the pandemic, and what I saw was a man who has a high level of appreciation for meme culture. So
yes,
it's very possible.
What if he got the meme? You know the Dexter's Lab meme that says "stun on them hoes" and it's just a picture of him.
Yeah, he
got a tattoo of that's from you, Graham, right? Didn't you make that, Graham?
No, I wish. I think that was Bro, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it might have been Brody.
I don't know. Whoever posted it on Twitter though, I saw TD Daniels himself hit that like button.
Big old. All right, next question.
Is the final question because I gotta go. I've hit my wall. Thinking about Brock Vandegrift, do we get to see him play more because he was cool at G-Day when he played?
I think we're going to blow a lot of people out, so yes.
Yeah.
We could. I think even in a scenario where we lose to Clemson, we're probably going to win 4 or 5 games by 20 points. I mean, both the out-of-conference FCS games, probably Georgia Tech.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, how many
beat by 20?
How many SEC schools have you beaten by 20? Vandy, Kentucky.
Vandy, maybe not Kentucky. Depends on
South Carolina. South Carolina might be 35, dude.
Yeah, Missouri probably, maybe. Tennessee definitely. Arkansas probably, maybe. I don't dude. Georgia could have a season where they just beat the shit out of basically everybody except for Clemson, and Florida's a 17-point to 10-point game.
Brock Vandegrift might play 8 quarters this year. He might play 4 full games in quarters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
What if yeah.
No, go ahead.
I mean, what if they actually put him out there and continue to run the offense, and he just throws for 1,000 yards this season in garbage time because his second team receivers are still studs.
But you're the team receivers are Arian Smith.
Yeah, Tua didn't play a fourth quarter until what the championship, SEC championship that one year.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. It's a good stat.
All right. Good pull. All right, boys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on, Graham.
Thanks for having me. This is lovely.
Yeah, off-season content, baby.
It's great to talk to you. You can find Graham at Dog Out West on Twitter or at Dog Sports Live, where he does Dog Sports Live, which is a very good video show that he and Josh Hancher do. That I'm sure we will keep on appearing on each other's shows.
Oh yeah.
So,
100%.
You can find more about this show, Chapel Bell Curve, at Twitter at Chapel Bell Curve. You can find Justin at the Justin Bray, or me at Nathan J. Lawrence. which I've unlocked my Twitter account because, once you live through a pandemic, whatever, just kill me, it's fine. So, if you really like what you heard here today and you want to contribute, you can find Patreon at patreon.com/Chapo Bell Curve, where we have you can $1 will get you into a very good Patreon Discord, which is just the memeiest, thirstiest, weirdest group of humans to ever live on the planet. We are going to have a physical Discord meetup at an undisclosed secret location in Athens. I already assume it's going to be, I assume we're going to just go to Creature. I don't know.
It's just going to be my parking lot right there.
We have not planned this at all, but I'm assuming it will be very, very Athensy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone will bring a guitar. When do we think the meetup will be? I don't know.
July?
We probably need to we need to unmute some people who are in this live recording thing after we go off air and talk about it probably. But all right, you can find us at Patreon. You can find us on Twitter. You can hit us up at email if you want to at chapelballcurve@gmail.com. And we will catch you in the Classic City for. Well, I guess not the Clemson game, but we'll catch you in the Classic City soon. If you see me around, I'm going to get my ears pierced. So if you see me downtown.
What's up.
Say what's up. Be like, yo, it's your boy, Nathan. Having a midlife crisis in a really weird way.
It's your boy.
It's your boy.
My approach to post-pandemic life is that I'm just like, any personal whim or urge I get that does not seem to directly make my life worse or hurt me in some way, I'm going to do it. That is one thing. I'm also gonna probably get a girl power tattoo.
Hell yeah!
I would say I'm so close to to my next tattoo that I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
I'm getting a girl power tattoo like on my wrist because like whatever, I have a job, fire me. And then I'm working on like, we're at the part where I'm like, what thigh piece am I gonna get? Anyway, we'll talk. We'll catch you in the Classic City for whatever part of my slow motion midlife crisis I'm having. But until then, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.